Anyway, we then get an amazing segment of this documentary that I'm actually a little shocked that they included.
Now, Bill Clinton came back to where he should have been all along. And that was in the center of the spectrum. He was elected as a moderate. He was elected because the American people were very concerned about crime.
How can we bring up the fact that she called children super predators, and that her husband, and with her backing, and helped put an entire generation of people in jail for nonviolent offenses?
President Clinton signed the crime bill into law. $30 billion for more police, new prisons, harsher penalties.
It includes President Clinton's 3 strikes and you're out provision.
Hey, Clinton! Our people are still in jail from your crime bill. You stretched it out. Mandatory minimum. And then you want to take pictures of our people here. We're still in jail for what you did.
It becomes critical to Bill Clinton to come up with a sort of centrist set of policies. And things like mandatory sentencing had strong support on both sides of the aisle. I think that people were not cognizant of the fact that you would essentially be filling up the country's prisons with a lot of nonviolent offenders.
Were there parts of it that should have been revisited and that, had unintended consequences? Absolutely, there were. And I think Bill has said that, and
The unintended consequences she's talking about are not mass incarceration. That was the intended consequence. They said it at the time. More people in prison. The unintended consequences are people getting mad at her about it 20 years later.
So there's criticism, and I understand that. I also think that people were then taking out of context things that I said and did.
We also have to have an organized effort against gangs. We need to take these people on. They are often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. And the president has asked the FBI to launch a...
Then she says of the super predators comment, and this is in the one-on-one interview, and this is the only time she's ever really challenged by the interviewer, and she drips contempt.
Oh, God.
And she says...
I was talking about gang members. I was talking about vicious gang members. You don't hear me putting race on it at all.
But did you have to then apologize during this election?
We have to bring them
Apologize for mass incarceration.
Okay, we'll talk
I'm
about
not a super predator, Hillary Clinton.
Okay, fine, we'll talk about it.
Apologize to black people for mass incarceration.
Well, can I talk?
I don't remember. I mean, I was, always trying to explain things that people didn't want to hear.
Well, I don't know why that's funny. I don't find it funny at all.
In the 1990s, there was a lot of hysteria about the idea of super predators.
That was on a magazine cover.
It's on magazine. How am I supposed to go against it?
And for this documentary, the zeal and the confidence it has to show you this and then say, it wasn't a big deal. You've heard the super predator thing. We're correcting the record. It was actually fine that she said that and that she supported the draconian bill. But then instead of examining it, that later on in the same episode, there's clips from 2016 where Black Lives Matter protesters are, the ghost haunting her.
Yes, they do, and I'm going to talk a lot about it. We need you. We need the promise of a rising generation of activists who are fearless in your advocacy and determination.
And instead of even picking it up as a possible contradiction or a possible point of learning or drama, it's just, I understood why they were upset. There's a lot of injustice out there.
I don't have any bad feelings at all about the Black Lives Movement, about what they did and how they did it and how they tried to express themselves. The cry to be heard, to be seen.
You know what, dear? You have a different opinion. And I will talk only to white people about how we are going to deal with a very real problem.
President Clinton was confronted by protesters who appear to be from Black Lives Matter. They were upset about gun violence laws Clinton had passed when he was in office 20 years ago. But he fired back, getting into a heated exchange for nearly 15 minutes.
You will never learn anything when you're talking.
They wanted to be heard.
They wanted to be heard. It's the same fucking episode where you see her supporting the crime bill that put the balloon to the prison population.
So little self-awareness, even among the filmmaker.
That omnibus crime bill was responsible for a massive expansion of the prison system. And beyond that, it provided all kinds of money and perverse incentives for law enforcement to do a lot of the things that we nowadays consider to be abusive.
It's a very well thought out crime bill that is both smart and tough.
I wanted to turn to Michelle Alexander, the author of the new Jim Crow Mass Incarceration, The Age of Color Blindness, who recently wrote, quote, "If anyone doubts the mainstream media fails to tell the truth about our political system and its true winners and losers, the spectacle of large majorities of black folks supporting Hillary Clinton in the primary races ought to be proof enough." She said, "I can't believe Hillary would be coasting into the primaries with her current margin of black support if most people knew how much damage the Clintons have done, the millions of families that were destroyed the last time they were in the White House, thanks to their boastful embrace of the mass incarceration machine and their total capitulation to the right-wing narrative on race, crime, welfare, and taxes."
It's the same fucking episode where you see her supporting the crime bill that put the balloon to the prison population.
So little self-awareness, even among the filmmakers.
10 minutes later, they have clips of her at a rally saying,
"Families are being torn apart by excessive incarceration. Young people are being threatened and humiliated by racial profiling. They're trying to tell us we need to listen."
with no examination.
It's North Korea. We've said it a bunch of times, but it is the hagiography that you would expect of a one-party state or dear leadership. It is amazing. Except she's never even been the dear leader.
Oh my goodness.
Representing all the women, salute, salute.